Do not let these shiny new headlights fool you into thinking that this 10-year-old piece of crap is actually a new vehicle. But that's exactly what Nissan is trying to fool you into thinking, in that this Nissan Armada is actually a brand new car. So let's get the basics out of the way first. This is a 2021 Nissan Armada. It is newly refreshed with this exterior styling that you see here. It has a 5.6 liter V8 engine that rockets this car from 0 to 60 in about 5.9 or 6 seconds. It also has loads of torque. It tows up to 8,500 pounds, which is actually pretty good for an SUV, especially one that is a 7-passenger with a rear flip-up seat that is big enough for some adults to fit into. We'll cover that more later in this video. But why would I call this a 10-year-old piece of crap? Well, up until 2016, the Nissan Armada was built on the Nissan Titan truck frame. That presented a lot of problems for Nissan engineers, and in order to save costs, they decided the best thing would be for them to transition this truck from a truck chassis to an SUV chassis, and this particular one was built off the Nissan Patrol. But the Nissan Patrol was actually first released in 2010. So this is a very aging frame. And maybe that's not such a big deal. We'll find out as we get into the driving impressions and that. But let's first of all talk about the exterior styling. So the first thing you're going to notice is this brand new front end. It does have a beautiful wide mouth grille. It looks kind of like teeth on it. The headlights are pretty cool looking, and the front end of this car actually is really big and square and chunky, and I love it. I love big and square and chunky. The problem for me starts to come when you come around the side of this car. The side profile on this, just something seems wrong here. It could be these fender arches that are just plastic stuck over cheap body panels, but I think it's more than that. I think the wheel arches are funny. They're just a little bit too bubbly and roundy. So you go from this square front end to these bubbly side things, and then the side profile is actually horrendous. Something's not right about this side profile. The wheels don't look right. From the back, it actually looks very narrow. I think that's because the chassis this is built off being a Japanese vehicle. In Japan, the roads are a lot narrower, and I think they built that narrowness into this, and it makes it look funny. From the side, it's long, but from the back, it's narrow and tall, and that's kind of a nod to the Japanese culture, but it's just not something that I'm used to seeing over here in North America. Moving on to the inside, we can see an actually well-appointed interior. The steering wheel is very nice. It has lots of good controls on here. The stereo controls on the left. It's got access to this little, I don't know, up-down switch, which allows you to navigate through the dash options and settings and that sort of thing. On the right hand side, we've got all the driver assist settings. So you got your cruise control, your lane assistance, and all of that. Also, your hands-free modes are there. In the center, we've got a giant infotainment screen that does support Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The important thing to note, the Apple CarPlay is wireless enabled. The Android Auto, you must plug in to the USB to use that, which is an annoyance in a day and age. I mean, this is 2021, and Kia has wireless Android Auto, but Nissan can't? Like, if you don't know how much it hurts me to complain about a Nissan, watch some of my other videos and you will see how much I love what Nissan used to be. I'm really worried about what Nissan is becoming, but that's a story for another day. We have a very simple yet elegant center climate control. This one has 3 positions, so you've got driver, passenger, and rear. It works as good as you would expect a climate control should work. It's got the standard 7-speed automatic transmission with manual mode and a center dial here that allows you to play with your infotainment center settings. Also, we've got our tow and snow mode up here. We've got a built-in trailer brake controller, which is great because I imagine whoever buys this will tow with it. It has in the center here a wireless charger port and a 12-volt auxiliary plug, 2 cup holders, a center console, and that's about it. Now the steering wheel is leather wrapped, which is great, but this being the mid-grade option, the seat is called premium pleather, and I hate pleather. I don't know if you've heard that before. If you've watched my other videos, you've seen my thoughts about pleather. Pleather is crap. Now this car starts at $50,000 US. This particular one would have a price tag somewhere around $60,000 to $65,000. You can go up to a premium model, which would be closer to $75,000 US. And if you do, then that one will give you actual leather inlay seats. Now what does leather inlay means? It means that the parts you sit on would be leather, the parts on the side here would still be pleather. And that's okay, most cars have been doing that for a long time. You probably didn't even notice, so it's no big deal. But this seat is absolutely horrendous. It feels gross. I don't like it. Luckily, the steering wheel is actually real leather, and that is a huge saving grace for this car. Let's move to the back seat. The middle row actually has a ton of space. As you can see, I fit here very, very well. The seats can recline, so I can go like this. They're fixed positions, so they won't slide forward and backward at all. But I can go like this and flip this down. I've got a couple more cup holders here, and it's just a comfortable space. Something else that Nissan did that I find really exciting is they added a button here so that I can access the front compartment from the back seat. That's important because they did not include a 12-volt accessory plug inside of the compartment. So for me, I had to run my accessory plug in the back here and then run it up through this crack in the back, which I don't know, maybe Nissan was a genius because they knew I would do that, or they missed something. I'm really disappointed there is no 12-volt accessory there. I'm not going to go into the very back, but I will show you how much space there is back there with the seats down. So there is a fair amount of cargo space back there when you have this in 5-passenger mode. If you have the seats up in 7-passenger mode, there's not a lot of cargo space. So you have the choice to have people or cargo, but not both. Now, personally for me, I would just drive around just like this in the 5-seater capacity and have all the storage space in the back, partly because I have a couple dogs and I would put those back there. But you don't want to know all about all the features and everything. You want to know how it drives. So why don't we jump in, buckle up, take this for a road test. So of course you guys want to know how it feels. And we're going to start out by doing this crazy off-roading as we pull away from my top secret car review area in Atlanta, Georgia. Is where we're coming from today. So first of all, this is a Nissan. I've told you before how much I love Nissan, and I've recently done a review of the brand new Nissan Altima, which was thoroughly disappointing. So the question I want to know is, will this car be any better? Can it be any better? Or has Nissan lost their way? Let's talk a little bit more about the roots of this car. So I already told you that this used to be built on a truck chassis. That was good for guys like myself. I've actually owned the older Armada, and the reason I bought the older Armada is because I have a lot of kids and I have big dogs. So I need space. I need more space than a truck would normally allow. So this, being a 7-passenger, allows me to take my kids and my dogs, and because it's built on a truck chassis, I was able to tow. So the old one towed almost 10,000 pounds. This one's been downrated a little bit to 8,600 pounds, which isn't going to be a big deal for most people. This will still tow a regular boat, or a boat like the boat that I own at least. It will also tow a modestly sized RV. It won't tow like a monster RV, but someone looking for like an ultralight that's 30 feet or so will be able to tow just fine with this. Probably just like my other Armada, this one will suffer in the braking category. And on that one, I had to upgrade to cross-drilled slotted rotors and ceramic brake pads just to be able to have the confidence to actually stop. If you do find yourself towing with something close to that 8,500 pounds, you may want to consider upgrading your brakes. It is very nice that they included the brake controller up here, so you don't have to install it. I see a lot of vehicles that are meant for towing are including that right from the start, and that's a good indicator that Nissan had towing in mind when they built this. They didn't just give you a tow rating and say, yeah, it'll probably do that. They actually designed it to do that. Now, as far as how it drives, it's 400 horsepower, V8. It's got loads of torque. It says it does 0 to 60 in 6 seconds. I'm not sure I believe that. It seems sluggish and heavy. So when I step on the gas, so I'm coasting about 50, the speed limit's 60 something. I step down. You hear that? 7-speed transmission. It had to shift through 3 gears and I still didn't accelerate. So it makes a lot of noise, but it doesn't go anywhere. That's a huge disappointment. Like, now I'm moving. That took what, 2 seconds, 3 seconds before I went going. This truck is a hazard. I've been in a few situations where I moved over and stepped on it to go, and the guy behind me actually had to slow down because this thing just didn't accelerate quick enough. You would think with 400 horsepower and a 0 to 60 time of 6 seconds, it would be able to accelerate, but it doesn't. Now I want to talk about Nissan's driver safety program. I didn't cover this in my Nissan Altima review, and I should have. This thing has all kinds of driver aids. It has lane departure indicators. It has lane departure, like if you start moving over on your lane, it'll actually vibrate and start telling you, hey, you're leaving your lane. Awesome. It has radar systems so that it actually will slow right down to a complete stop if the car in front of you is slowing down, which again, great. But for some reason, it doesn't seem to do lane guidance, or it doesn't seem to do lane assist at all. So even though it knows I'm leaving my lane and it can vibrate my steering wheel to tell me that I'm leaving my lane, it can't figure out how to put me back in my lane. I mean, this is basic technology at this point. It's something that most cars have, and you should expect it. Keep in mind, this is a $70,000 SUV. I'm not talking about a cheap Kia, but the cheap Kia that I reviewed a couple weeks ago, it had an amazing driver assist. This is just dog crap. Like, it's absolute garbage. And now add on top of that, this truck is built off of a chassis that was from 2010. They released this in 2016, which, you know, makes you think it's newer. And then this particular one was a mid-year refresh. So this has the new interior, it has the new exterior. It looks great from the outside in the front. But in the back and the sides, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. In fact, the Infinity, I wanted to get one of those, and that's just as ugly. And no matter how much I see it, I just can't get used to how ugly it is. I just don't like it. So this has a lot of strikes against it. It's ugly, it's slow, it's overpriced, it has old technology, but it looks flashy. The seats are cheap, crap, fake leather, and there's not really much to like. Quite honestly, like, I am slowly, car by car, turning into a Nissan hater, and I hate myself for it. I drive one of those. I drive a Ford Mustang. I have a Mustang now, a Mustang convertible. I never thought I would enjoy a Ford motor product. Nissan was always better. They were built better, they were engineered better, and now it's not. Now, I don't think I'm the only one who feels this way. If you look at the sales numbers of the Armada, prior to this facelift, they sold about 30,000, just over 30,000 Armadas for 3 years in a row. They switched to this facelift, and then they dropped to 19,000 units sold in the first year. And then in the next year, they went up to just over 20,000, but that's still 10,000 units that they didn't sell. Now, Nissan says that this will be a high quality, low volume product. That's what they say this is. Now, that's okay, because you can then justify that you didn't sell very many because you said you weren't going to. But I'm still waiting for the high quality part. We haven't got the high quality that they said we should get with the low volume. We've just got low quality, low volume. I can't recommend this car to anyone except a large family who needs seating for more than 5 people. And that large family needs to be able to tow something, a boat or an RV. Okay, I could recommend it to you guys, but in that case, I would still probably recommend that you go and you get yourself Chevy Suburban or a Yukon Denali or something like that. That would be better than this. this is, I don't know, I can't wait to give it, well, I can. You know, I am kind of enjoying driving around in it, even though I know it's ugly. It feels okay. I'll give it that. When you're driving it, it feels okay. Hey, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. We hope you enjoy the content in this video, and we'd love to have you come back. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And for those subscribers who are looking for that extra special thing that you can do to support this channel, consider joining our members group. That's where we're building this community, the Gears and Tech community, where we can all enjoy content together. You'll get special perks, which we'd love for you to check out by clicking the link down below. For those of you who are just happy to watch the video, that's okay too. You can check out some of our other content right over here, where we've got some previous videos that have already been uploaded and enjoyed by many of our viewers already. We do hope to see you again. This has been Gears and Tech. Have a great day.